All right. Well, good evening. I am tired. Um, so I've been working pretty steadily on trying to get a lot of bugs fixed in the platform that have been un well, kind of surprisingly, but unsurprisingly related to MBO data upgrades. Um, the biggest consequence of that is the size of the data. Um, Moving from MBP1 to MBO is a size difference. Oh, the mic's lagging. That's not cool. Is it? Uh, oh, oh, interesting. Yeah, I need a new headset. This is supposed to be a nice headset, but it kind of sucks. Um, But anyway, MBO data, it's like a jump from like 20 megabytes per day to like 1 gig. And so obviously the client, I can't stream that to the client, and the clients can't handle that in real time. So that kind of involved a lot of new updates this past week. So thanks for the patience. Um, that's pretty much what I've been working on and not releasing new things for is just trying to get ready for the new things that are coming. Um, and a lot of what's been taking my time has been the charts. So I've had to rewrite things like VWAP and CVD divergence indicators that were previously being served by the server. Now the server is doing more just sending calculated MBO data to the client and letting the client do the calculations. But one of the nice side effects of that is now I'm going to be able to provide a lot more flexibility directly to the client for things like volume profile because now I'm just sending the data pre-built binaries for the client, and then you can change what matters to you in the client. Um, So that's been a large part of what my time's been spent on in the last couple of weeks. But here we are, launch day. It's been a fun couple months getting to this point. Geez, apparently I need to update my computer. Um, yeah, and like live charts really wasn't even part of this plan initially. It was just to start with um, kind of the historical journaling. I guess just to kick off, I did kind of want to give a little bit of background on who I am and sort of what Profitable is and what the goal is for this year. So I merged too. My real name is Derek, and I am a 20-year plus seasoned software engineer. I'm currently working in healthcare, but this would be um, I am working in healthcare AI, and so I have some experience in building AI models and training AI models on real data sets, and I have a lot of experience building platforms to scale with Amazon and other big vendors. Um, and so I think this project for me is not as much of a technical challenge as it is a solution to problems that I've been facing as a trader or as a learning trader. I think for me, one of the biggest challenges was that when I was trying to build my own strategy and piece things together, a lot of what I was learning could, it was just separated into different places. I might be learning strategy on YouTube and then doing a trading view and then trying to find like an indicator that would help me place that strategy on the chart. Or I might be another site and pulling historical statistics, and then I would be trading in the morning and trying to remember those statistics on the fly, or writing them down or taking screenshots and putting them like in Figma or Miro or what have you, and trying to reference them while I'm trying to make decisions. And then at the end of the day, logging into another platform and trying to journal what I had put together on two or three other platforms. Um, and then meanwhile, I was also releasing TradingView indicators, um, which I found to be kind of limiting as a developer. TradingView has a lot of limitations in its PineScript language that don't allow for much cross communication between indicators. There's a lot of data aggregation going on behind the scenes that's not reliable. And then there are limitations about things as far as how much you can render on the screen at one given time. Um, and so very quickly, I ran into things like I want to show statistics on the charts for the initial balance, and it just wasn't possible. I can't find a way to load dynamic data into an indicator without re-releasing the indicator every day with new data. Um, and so the best I could do was, kind of mock the indicators that I was trying to release by letting you plug in your own statistics. The pro version of the indicator that I worked on could look back, I think, for about 14 days of historical data on TradingView and give you the statistics of the initial balance for 14 days. But again, that's very limiting. You may want to know more than just 14 days of historical statistics. Not that that's totally irrelevant. It's just, again, very limiting. Um, and so all of these things combined is kind of what I guess sparked in different pieces the profitable project. Initially, kind of starting with indicators, then kind of rolling into wanting to have my own statistics. And then once I did kind of have my own reporting engine and statistics, it all came back to charts. I want to, not be trying to remember all of this on the fly in TradingView. Um, and so I was kind of faced with the option of either embedding TradingView into my site and trying to do the best I could with it, or kind of starting from scratch. And starting from scratch was honestly not the first thing I thought of. TradingView is a very big company. They have hundreds of engineers that are dedicated just to writing a charting product. And I am not an expert at writing charting products, so I'm learning on the fly and learning a lot on the fly. But I am an expert at React and writing web applications to scale. So I was fairly confident that I could handle the data side of it and learn how to present it on, a charting platform. Um, but the thing that I think is a little bit different about this than some of the other competitors is that it all is built in a web-based platform, which means that it can run on any computer with a web browser, and it can also run on Android and iPhone. Android is actually already released, and iPhone will be coming soon. Apple is kind of difficult to work with, so I'm just trying to negotiate a few things with them, but the app is actually done and ready. There are definitely tweaks and improvements that need to be made on the mobile versions. They're kind of rough. I've been working on them as I go and testing on it on my phone at night and stuff when I'm not actually working. So making notes of things that I want to fix. Um, but anyway, so back to kind of the charts. So the entire charting engine is written from scratch. It is part of another application embedded. It is just receiving raw data, MBO data, and then charting it out on custom footprints that I've written. Um, and so I guess before I go any deeper into any parts of the platform, are there any questions about anything I've mentioned so far? It looks like we're good. Cool. Um, so I'll just start with, I guess, what was the original idea, which was starting with statistics. Profitable has historical analysis built in, so you can run different report types over different periods of times and different symbols. So, for example, if you want to look at the initial balance over, GC for the last 30 days, or even, like the last 6 months, then you can pick your session, say like the New York session, or if you only want like 9:30 to 4 p.m., and then you can run that, and it'll pull down the day data and then calculate all of the um, all of the information for that report. In the case of the IB, you would have like the range of the initial balance, the percentage rate for breakouts, double breaks, no breaks, retracement analysis, extension levels, so your percentage chances of different extensions of the initial balance uh, for for that time period, that formation period. You can customize the formation period. So if you instead wanted to change this to be a 45-minute initial balance, you could change it from 10:30 to 10:15 and then rerun it, and you would get different statistics for that. The IB tracker here should be showing real-time updates. I actually haven't had a chance to look at it this week. Yeah, it looks like it's updating. Um, so I haven't had a chance to look at it this week since I've done all the MBO updates, but it looks like it's still updating, which is great. I need to circle back and look at a couple more live components on the platform. But this will update during the market with the settings that you have set. And so it will show you the position of price versus the IB and what extensions have already been hit throughout the day. So all of these extensions in green were hit on GC throughout the day for this initial balance period. And then you would have these retracement levels hit throughout the day as well. And then you have different playbooks for the initial balance. So if you're looking for a breakout, um, this report can go a little further and tell you, first you're looking for the formation, and then it gives you the statistics for breaking the IB low if the high formed first, or breaking the high if the low formed first, and the average range of the IB for this symbol. Then you're waiting for the break, so you're looking for 80% of the time a single break, and gives you the close location for the day versus the initial balance. It gives you some patterns for which days are best for the week for this symbol. Average extensions, up, down, or any, and then by weekday analysis. And then you can go through all of the 6 months of data right here on the chart. There is actually also 5 years of data, so you could run the same report for 5 years, but when you do that, it's going to pull down 1,304 days of data. So it'll take a little while. One thing that is cool about Profitabul is that when you run these reports, they are cached for a certain period of time. So the more users that come on, the more reports are cached, and I will be tracking which reports are most popular, the ones that are run every morning, say like the 9:30 to 10:30 for popular symbols every day. So those will be pre-cached in the near future and really um, but the 5 year to the we'll see it goes all the way back to probably 2020, I'm guessing, or 2021 now. So um, any 5 years, and I think the next step for me was so now I have Reportagon or Mike gone again. I I'm assuming it's just going to do this a bit of, I don't know. It's just I will have a better setup for the next one. Um, this mic is kind of crappy, and I tried to hook up my other mic, and for whatever reason, it did not work. I actually have a studio mic that would be better than this headset, but this wireless headset's gonna have to do for today. Um, cool. I'll just kind of keep my head tilted toward the PC. Um, so I think the next thing for me after being able to run reports is like, what does this matter for my trading? Like, how am I going to use this tomorrow? If I see this report and I like these statistics, I have a 75% chance over 5 years of a single pick of the IB, then what does that matter tomorrow to my trading? And that's kind of where the trading view indicators come into play, and where I wasn't able to fully do what I wanted to do with that. So in here on the live charts, I have indicators. I've added quite a few already. I'm still working on some of them. It's a lot. And so the initial balance is one of the ones that I'm looking at pretty frequently, making sure that it's staying rendering correctly and that everything's working on. So um, the initial balance indicator is probably the best example of being able to take information from the report and put it straight onto the charts. Um, so in this case, it's charting out the initial balance low, the mid, and the high, and it directly plots all of the extensions and provides the statistics from this initial balance period. So if you change this initial balance period to something like a 30-minute IB, um, then the statistics and everything change in real time for that IB. Another thing to show about it is that it has these modals built in that you can click with these sparkle icons that reveal right next to the chart a bunch of the statistics from the report, and you'll see that these are updated in real time for the IB that you're using. So if I close that and then like open this one, now it's the 1 hour IB, and these are the 1 hour statistics instead. Um, some of the modals like VWAP will actually update in real time, or at least it used to. I don't think this one is. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the what is it? Low volume nodes, or it could just not work. That would be that would be fine too. It wouldn't be a proper demo if I didn't have at least one bug. There we go. So in POC, yeah, okay. So you can see this flashing the distance to all the naked POCs in real time as price updates. So I'll be doing more modals like that, um, that provide more data, and give you real-time feedback for whatever indicators you have active. For the indicator, did I add the option to modify them? So that was something I briefly touched on, but I'll just kind of mention it again. So coming up over the next few weeks, I'll be working on updating some of the indicators. But I've essentially moved some of the stuff from the server side to the client side, and that is now allowing me to provide even more customization options. So the first, no, all good, all good. The first example of that is probably the volume profile on the right side. Previously, this volume profile data was just sent over from the server as is, and you couldn't really do anything with it. Now down here, you have this cog, which gives you the option to set it to different anchor times, and you can even set it to custom times. Um, and so now you're just receiving data client indicator is rendering it. So um, that's kind of the first, I think, real display of how the new client side indicators will be more flexible. Additionally, VWAP also got a bit of an update. So now you can choose if you want VWAP to be anchored by session, week, or month, and you can change the source. And if you're, for some reason, you want to do offsetting, that's a thing. And then I think, yeah, I was like, I think these are broken. I need to fix these. I already knew that. You can modify fill. So um, I'm going to be providing a lot more options moving forward. And then again, since the data is now just all directly in the client, you can modify all these calculations on the fly any way you want. So yeah, the big trades indicator is definitely one uh, that was server side and is now client side. Um, and I know that the calculation is happening client side now, so I may need to hook this threshold back up. Yep, you're right. But at least it is feeding them through, so that is nice. The indicator is not completely just not working. And I think one of the other things that I think is a differentiator about the indicators on Profitable versus other platforms, at least I'm not aware of other platforms that do this unless you kind of get like a suite of indicators, which I guess you could consider or Profitable a suite of indicators. But all of the indicators are capable of cross communicating. And so what that means is um, it's kind of unopinionated, but in a way that you can kind of choose what matters to you. It's the best way that I can explain how I was thinking about this. So, for example, let's see if I can show this, like turn some things off real fast. So I don't think I can show this in, maybe if I reload. I don't know if I can show this in real. The CVD divergences are set. No, okay, I can. Once your CVD divergences are set, your targets are set. And that's just to kind of make sure like it's not changing too much. And so like if you framed a trade, you're not having to like pay attention to it changing the target. But the target calculation here is based on essentially what other indicators I have enabled. And so it's based on what I care. In this case, I have POC enabled on my volume profile. I believe I could even turn that off. So it would take that away as well. So you can see that the first target that it gave based on the strength of this divergence was that it's pretty sure it's going to hit the POC first. And so that's the first target. And then the second target is based on mostly the divergence itself, volume, momentum, where, like it's more based on math than anything else. And so some of the times and a lot of the times, and you can actually see, scrolling back historically, the CVD divergence indicator by itself is actually really strong and you can get some really good trades off of it. But if you find that you care about other things, so say like GC in particular respects VWAP and its deviation bands very heavily, if you enable the VWAP indicator and apparently refresh to get new targets, you'll now see that those two indicators will cross communicate with each other. And so the first target has changed to where it looks like that might not be mapping that appropriately. But the first target that it should be looking for is the first deviation band because you rejected off of the second deviation band. And then beyond that, the next target, sometimes, not always, will usually be something else relevant. So like on this one over here that's forming right now, it's telling you from down here, the first target was back to VWAP, and then the second target is back to POC. So it's cross communicating with different indicators that are relevant to you. And that's kind of the approach that I took um, on building smart indicators that have some logic behind them, but not making every decision for your trade. So if you don't care about VWAP, then don't put on the VWAP indicator, and it won't take that into account. Uh, if you instead trade off of the 8 EMA, then you can turn on the 8 EMA indicator, and it will target 8 EMAs. Crossovers. And I'm not saying that all of the indicators do this perfectly, but this is the idea. Um, and like I said, I don't really know of too many other or any other platforms that I was able to find that kind of took that approach. So I think that's a big differentiator on profitable indicators. Um, and then outside of just the actual charting, there are additional features like paper trading. I'm still working on the stability of the paper trading, and I have plans to be able to hook this up to Project X and Tradevate. Um, so as of now, you're able to like just place paper trade orders. You can drag and drop your stop loss and take profit positions in real time. And there's like a card down here that shows the active position as it's playing out. And then I don't actually know if I push this part to production, but um, I'm trying to make it a little bit more interesting at the end of the trade to kind of capture your emotions, and you guys are going to laugh at me, but I've been playing a lot of Arc Raiders, and so the idea came from sort of Arc Raiders, where at the end of a run you're presented with the extraction screen, and it's like you're looking at all your loot, and that's kind of the rewarding thing, and then you're like, you have to empty your inventory and sort stuff before you go back in, and I'm like, well. What if I did that in my trading? Like, what if I was that excited about the trade I just won and I had to kind of like take inventory and sort my thoughts before I went back in. And so now it does a trade expected modal, and you can kind of say, how I was feeling about this trade, take some notes, and say, killed it, and then save it into your journal. Um, and so, sort of the idea is that eventually, when this becomes a trading platform, this would work the exact same way, but executing with your trading account credentials through Tradeovate or Project X. Um, and so, like I said, that's live now. That's something I'm working on making better. Um, we also have the ability to be able to journal anything at any time. So even if you're just sitting here, I'm thinking about taking a long here. You can save this. You can take a quick note about it, or log a trade idea. You can do whatever you want from right here. You could even ask the AI chat agent like, I'm thinking about taking a long on GC uh, to well, I guess now we're at VWAP, so VWAP standard deviation 1. And then it has the ability to look into live market data. I don't know if it will. No, it'll just break. Okay, so I need to look into this. It probably aired out looking into the MBO data, which is not totally unexpected. The chat agent also has the ability, is it just completely down? Maybe I need to give it more money. The AI needs more money or more water, one of the two. Um, so it also has the ability to look into your trading habits and your journaling. So if you ask it things like, how can I improve my win rate? How could I improve my P&L? It will look at things like the profit over time for individual trades. It will look at revenge trading patterns, and it will tell you, your best days, your best times, your best assets, things to avoid. Um, Basically, it is expanding on the statistics that are available in the journal as you continue to trade and put data into the journal. It learns more about your trading and can tell you more about your trading. Um, and so, if you haven't also seen this, this is what I would consider kind of the last or first, depending on which way you look at it, part of the full circle of tools in my mind, which is I've started with a strategy, I've brought it into the live charts, now I want to reflect on it. And so Profitabul has the ability to import from multiple different brokers. Any of your trades you can export out of Project X, Tradeovate, or Rhythmic, and also TradingView. And you can either drop them here on this page or right here on this journaling page, and it will import your trades and then show you the same data as far as um, profit over time, entry, exit, and I'm still working on adding more to this. I'm hoping right now that this trade replay still works. Yay, I think it does. So the trade replay is also a fairly new feature, and it will show you how the trade played out from the time of execution to the time that the trade was closed. And in this case, I think something is off with the timing because that did not look right to me. So I'll write that down as another thing to test. Oh wait, no, it closed back here. It just played too much time, which is interesting. Okay. Made a note. And okay, so then it takes all of the data that you've collected, plots it out onto the statistics, which again gives you a lot of good insights into performance by symbol, setup type, time-based analysis. It tells you your best performing days, your peak hours, what were your worst days. Um, and I plan to add more to the statistics to give even more insights. This is just what I would consider kind of a starting point. Um, and then there are, I guess there are like there's a risk advisor page. Have more plans for this. This was also kind of a starting point. I want not only tweak what's in here um, for the different firms, but the idea that I have now is that you should be able to come into the risk advisor, say you're planning to run 100K combines at Top Step, and then just hit create paper account. And you would have an account created for you instantly over here with the risk parameters that you've already defined in the advisor. And so then you can just paper trade and practice how you want to run a 100K combine at Top Step or, you know, any of the other firms. So if you're instead going to Tradeify and doing a 100K, you would be able to create a paper account and trade how you're going to trade that account. Um, so that's something I'm planning for the risk advisor. There are teams coming. This is something I haven't really had time to work on, but the idea is that you would be able to join teams. You would be able to join teams that are owned by mentors and have different levels of disclosure for your trading. So you would be able to manually share your trades. If you're subscribing to a mentorship, maybe it's a full disclosure mentorship where they see every trade you take or journal, and you can't hide the bad. Um, and so it will be kind of a like miniature. I don't want to say the word like social media, but um, it's kind of like an accountability platform where you will be able to share statistics with each other and then hold each other accountable to your trading habits. And then probably much, much later this year, I can't even put a date on it yet. The end goal in my mind is once I have a strategy, I've made it something repeatable, um, and like I've back tested it, which there's more back testing stuff coming. The end goal in my mind is to be able to automate these things, and there is an automation module that will eventually be coming. It will probably be an add-on to the base subscription. Um, the idea is that you would be able to take anything from the platform, the reports, the statistics, the indicators, and then define your rules and let it play. So, for example, if I'm on gold, then my strategy might be CVD divergence scores above, let's say, like a 37%, and I want to exit as soon as there's an opposing score above 17%, I could say that's good enough, save it, turn it on, let it run. And then it'll start showing you the trades that it would be taking and where those scores are. Um, and then I could also go into here and say, well, actually, I care about VWAP. And if we're coming back and we're touching VWAP, I want out. So that's an or condition for me. So now I'm looking for an opposing signal, or if we touch VWAP, I want out, and then just let it run. Um, so that's kind of where the automation is, and like where it's going. It's going to be a lot more robust than it is right now, but it is running off the backbone of everything else that's in the system. So all that, I guess, really to say, I built this platform to tie all of this together and then provide it back to you guys. Um, I my goal is to build the tool that in my mind doesn't exist, that doesn't pool all of this together, and certainly doesn't do it in a way that's user friendly. I didn't want people to have to learn how to write codes or indicators to get what they want out of this. And so, next to putting this all on a platform and making it powerful, I would say it's being user friendly and educational. And so that's my next goal now that I kind of have a platform that exists is I keep hearing that people don't know how to use it, and I do plan to address that. I really like to hear that. I love to hear that people are getting value out of it. I am too. Um, I've just been a little too busy to actually trade, I guess, responsibly and consistently. My trading has been whenever I get any extra time to do it. Yeah, Baron, I'll definitely reach out. I'm trying to think about next steps. I actually just engaged a product manager friend to kind of help me get my head around what's going on. Anyway, I don't think I have anything else to show. For those of you that are still here, one of the things I want to call out, if you're having any trouble on the platform, like if things are stuck loading or you think it's doing something weird on the live chart page in particular, and I say in particular because I spend the most of my time trying to fix things on this page, um, you can hit Control Shift D, which will bring up a debug menu that I've built to kind of get an idea of like where the state of things are on other people's computers when they're having issues. And so this thing will tell me like what historical data is loaded, how much is in memory, and like how fast things are updated, how much memory the application's using, and all of that. But there are a couple reasons I'm pointing out to everyone. Control Shift D, thank you. Yeah. Um, there's a couple reasons I'm pointing this out to everyone. One is that if you're stuck in a weird loading state and you think like just resetting everything would help, you can click this clear cache button and then click OK. Um, and then when you refresh, it's going to load all the data completely from scratch. And sometimes it'll take longer, but that's a pretty good way to get back to kind of a fresh state. And then the other thing is, and I don't mean this in a derogatory manner, but if you feel like Profitable is kind of running bad on your computer, like it's running hard, so if you notice right now, like my cursor's kind of lagging, and that's because I'm on my PC, and for whatever reason, there's a thing in the rendering where when it's on my PC and I'm on my ultra wide monitor, at like 2 times pixels. So it's rendering the charts at like 10,000 pixels by whatever that is. So usually on my PC, I have to turn this eco mode on, and that just renders it at the normal 5,000 pixels instead of 10,000, and then everything runs buttery smooth. Um, that's not something I expect users to have to know. So I am working on better detection to make that automatic. But that's why I'm calling it out to everyone here is there's a way to make it run a little better. Um, are there any more questions or anything I should cover? Control Shift D brings up that menu. Yeah, so the site is actually public today. It is officially launched. No more beta codes, no more restricted signups. It is launched today. Hopefully I can get Apple to approve the app within the next couple weeks. Um, I can size it for Chrome. Are you saying like to show mobile or I don't understand. Oh, yeah. Um, yeah. Oh, and I guess that is another thing I could show, but I actually can't without messing everything up and just in but basically this is installable um as a Chrome application. So if you notice down, or I guess you can't even see my start menu, but I have it as a start or as a application on my start bar. Um, and so that is in the like address bar on Chrome. There's an icon next to the star to install it as a desktop app. And I find that I get better performance out of it than leaving it embedded in Chrome because it runs as its own process. But I also have that experience with TradingView. So, but yeah, so if I don't know if I can actually do it in this. I know what you're talking about with the sizing, but yeah, I don't think I can do it in the saved app. Yeah, it's not here. The little phone icon's not here. Yeah. Um, so let's see. I don't know. I think that's everything I wanted to cover. If anyone has any more questions, I'm happy to answer them. There's a lot in this thing already, and there's more that I'm adding. There's absorption indicators. There's like supply and resistance zones are, pre-plotted off of higher time frame data from days back. Um, so I'm trying to build the indicators that I wanted out of TradingView that I couldn't reliably based on, I guess, what data was on the screen on TradingView. And as a developer, that drove me insane because then I would give someone like Baron an indicator and then he would stream and I would see something different on his screen than what I was seeing on my screen. And I would know that it was a limitation of TradingView and there's nothing I could do about it. Um, so it's it's been a fun journey to build this, and I'm looking forward to what comes next. I do have more cool things coming, probably even in the next couple weeks. With full disclosure, I crushed through a bunch of stuff at the end of last year, so I have a lot of features like the automate stuff, like the team stuff, that are ready to go. But at this moment, I just kind of want to let things settle and make sure everything gets more stable and that we're not having problems with what's already here. So over the next couple months, I think we'll see some really cool stuff coming out. I see some typing. I'll wait for questions, but if there's nothing else, I'm going to probably take a short break and then get ready for market reopen. Every day of market reopen is like is the start of a new business day for me. Yeah, this is being recorded, hopefully complete with audio. We'll find out. Yeah, thank you everyone. I really appreciate the support. Um, I can't even express how much I do appreciate it. Um, I'm I'm going to be definitely putting more of my time and my life into this product than I have anything in my career. Um, I think I've been kind of waiting for a moment where I could build something that connects with users and meets an actual need as opposed to like an imposed need, something that some CEO came up with. Um, and I feel like Profitable has a really good shot at doing both, being a product that I can build and meeting not only my needs but users' needs at the same time. So it's my goal to do that first and foremost. Otherwise, in my mind, this product is nothing. So um, let me know how your trading is going. I'd love to hear it. Love to hear the updates. I'll continue to be transparent about what I'm working on. And hopefully, with not too much more time, I won't require too much more of your patience as the product matures. Yeah, heat map is definitely that's definitely coming. I That's a large part of the MBO work that's been going on this past couple weeks, which I it was in the plans to get into early quarter 1. I'm already starting the back end preparations, so that required a pretty big back end update, and I think is probably going to require another server, or not another, but the first server upgrade to handle the additional processing. Um, so I would say that's coming. But I do have other priorities like supporting every symbol that Top Step and other prop firms support. I want to get everything working, um, and supporting anything that anyone wants to trade before I start expanding more features. So that's kind of the priority order. Yeah, thank you all.